All right, we came into the session today wanting to see how price was going to trade versus that 49.60 level of interest. Now, for context, where is this 49.60 level coming from? Well, it was Friday's breakout point. So you could see the prior 52-week highs right through here. Friday, we do have a test of that area. Sold off on some data later in the session, a nice bounce versus one of our lower levels of interest, and that triggered the daily breakout. So coming into today's sesh, what we want to see is whether or not buyers are going to continue to defend this 49.60 level of interest. We can see a pretty uneventful overnight auction there. Not a lot of activity happening during the overnight session. Very tight range coming into the regular trading hours sesh. We do again have a lot of essentially just chop. Price is just trading in a very tight consolidation pattern. Some data comes out 10 a.m. Pretty much prices resolve lower. No real bid there at that 49.60. So you don't want to be attempting to catch a falling knife or anything like that until we test one of the lower levels of interest. Remember, if you are trying to grab longs through here, through here, through here in what I call no man's land, you are in for a tough time. We want to be waiting for price to actually test a notable area of support or a known area on the chart, a known level on the chart. So we actually have a solid level to be setting our risk against. That's why I share these levels of interest every single day. You want to have some type of kind of risk reversal levels to lean your analysis on. That's what I personally do. So coming into the sesh, wanting to see how that 49.60 area is treated. A little bit of a blip there. You can see a singular green candle, but taking a look at the 30-minute, do we really want to be fighting this sell right through here? And the answer is absolutely not. So we wait for one of the lower levels of interest to be tested. In this case, it was that 49.35 area. Not an exact test, right? Treating these areas, these supply and demand zones, as zones. And so we want to see, again, buyers stepping in versus this area of support, 49.35. That's exactly what we saw on the 15-minute chart here with that green bar right through here. If I make this full screen, you can see that initial green bar develops right there near that 49.35 area. That was the first long that I actually attempted on the session following the actual close of this bar and break above the high of that first 15-minute bar. Once we have that in, you have an actual structural low within price to lean some risk against, to lean some long trades up against, and pretty much price just continues higher, breaking back above that 49.60 area to retest those overnight highs right through here. Now 49.75 has been, at least in today's session, a near-term level of interest. A lot of selling activity versus this 49.75 zone, as we could see all during the overnight sesh, as well as into the afternoon here. And if we actually go in and take a look, what is that level? What is that level? Well, we do have the prior day volume point of control right there, right through there. So taking a look at the actual regular trading hours profile, this volume profile, regular trading hours, looking at ES here, what you can see, this yellow line all through here, that is where most of the volume was transacted from Friday's session. I've mentioned before, but these are always going to be important reference points, especially if you're intraday trading the index. So you want to be keeping an eye on those prior day volume point of control levels. And we could see price essentially opens right below that volume point of control and cannot get above, right? So resolves lower. Again, you have a test of that bigger area of support. And now that prior day volume point of control continues to kind of keep a lid on today's price action. So for tomorrow, what I'm primarily going to be looking at is very similar approach to today. We do have an inside bar on the daily time frame chart. That just means that all of today's action, 49.75 by 49.38, is within the prior day's range, right? And so generally speaking, when you have an inside day, you want to be trading with the direction that the inside day breaks. And so if tomorrow we see action above the 49.78, you want to be focused on long, and vice versa for today's low. I'm going to primarily be leaning my trading on the reaction versus the 49.60 level of interest, because this level has significance on the daily time frame chart, and we could see how well is respected during Friday's action as well, right through there again, as well as today's action. So 49.60 main level of interest again for tomorrow. Also going to be leaning on the 49.75 just kind of as an interim reference point. That is going to be today's high, so it will have some significance for tomorrow's session. If buyers continue to step in and pay up, we're looking at a test of the 5K level. So that's it for ES. On NQ, the main watch was that overhead area of resistance, that 17,800 level. NQ has not yet shown the daily breakout. And so the main watch for NQ tomorrow, again, very similar to what we were looking at today. Can buyers trigger the daily breakout here? If so, that'll be a phenomenal trade to be keeping an eye on. So I'll be watching that 17,800 level pretty closely, as well as today's session high as a reference point. NQ also showing very similarly that inside day that we see on ES as well. So potential daily breakout on watch in NQ, and then ES, we're looking for the continuation move here above 49.60. Pretty straightforward in the index. Now, as far as individual names, we do have Meta with the inside day. I just talked about the inside day, so I won't rehash that. Looking for an inside day break on Meta for tomorrow. And then ON Semiconductors, this reported earnings today. We do have a big gap higher and a potential change in character here. So I do want to keep an eye on the second day trade in ON for tomorrow. That's it for individual names, Meta and ON. And then, as always, the index trade, 49.60 main level of interest on ES, of course, depending on what type of overnight action we have. And then with NQ, it's at 17,800 level. Hope everyone had a great sesh, great start to the week. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a DM in the Traders Think Tank. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep live stream. Have a great afternoon.